Hey, it's Amy here with Ask a Christian, a very small channel that's devoted to authentic discussion and answering your questions via email or here via video. And I'm doing something a little bit different today. I'm answering questions a friend of a friend is asking. So this is for you, Glow. And I just wanted to say thank you to Rhonda for passing these on. This is actually a question that you have not asked, Lo, but I think will help you in your spiritual journey as you decide if Christianity and what type of Christianity is right for you. I know that sounds really woo-woo, but there's so much nuance in the faith. So let me let me tackle this a little bit. What is the Bible even? As you have questions, you're going to bring them to the Bible. You want to know what verses say what principles are in there. And so learning how to read the Bible is super important. And so what is the Bible? The Bible is a collection of books. There are 66 books in this library that we call the Bible. It's written by over around 40 authors. We'll say 35, I think, are named. And we have questions about who some of those are. Some of them are compilers, and some of them wrote them themselves. Some of them are just like editors where you would gather info and edit it together. But we believe that all of these stories, all of these sections, their main purpose is to point humanity to Jesus and God and how they work with humanity to bring us back to what they intended for us, which is face to face with the divinity, face to face with God, and in love with God and each other centered love, serving each other. So the whole story of the Bible is different people's view of how God is interacting with mankind to bring about that purpose. I hope that makes sense. Inside of those stories, there's all kinds of different ways that they're telling the story. They're telling it through prose and just regular kind of chronology, writing things down, what happened. They're writing poetry, they're singing songs, they're collecting bits of wisdom. But in all, these themes are supposed to point us to Jesus. Now, the Bible is called wisdom literature. It's ancient Jewish wisdom literature. And a lot of people, especially Westerners, read the Bible as they read the Bible in different ways than it was intended. There are some people in the camp of they think that the Bible is written just as a law book and that we must read and decipher exactly what is right and wrong, and that's its main purpose. There are laws in the Bible, so don't get it twisted. There are laws that were meant for God's people then and now even, but its primary purpose is not to worry about laws. There are good laws in there. There are laws that will lead to health, wellness, abundant life, as Christians like to say, but it is not a law book primarily. The first 5 books of the Bible, the Torah, as the Jews would call it, contains a lot of wisdom and a lot of laws and a lot of written down, codified bits of knowledge that God's people did have. And some people think that we still need to follow it today, and some people don't. But again, not the main point. The main point is this is how God was interacting with people at that time. We get the privilege of deciding whether or not it applies to us. A lot of people, some Westerners too, believe that it's mostly kind of maybe a dictionary or encyclopedia where we can go and we can just track the exact words, the exact timelines of God's people. But that can't be either. There's huge gaps missing in the Bible records of what God's people were up to. And so it's more like an edited movie where we see snapshots and vignettes of what's going on rather than a whole um, personalized story. So don't think that you can get everything you need for life and running your life out of the Bible. people will get mad at me for saying that because they're like, whatever. If the Bible says it, I believe it, and I'm going to follow the Bible. It's the only basis for faith and truth. Listen, it's not a math book. It's not a history book. It is ancient Jewish wisdom literature. It is meant to be pondered over and digested slowly. And just by thinking on it time and time again, it will bring you to goodness. It will bring you to righteousness. It's also not, it's not a book of perfect theology. While we do build our beliefs on what the Bible says, we, we're languages removed from the original. And so to be able to put it together perfectly, listen, man, I'm not going to risk saying that. Again, people could be mad at me for saying that, but it's just not a book of theology. And finally, it's not a book of inspiration. There's people who say, "Oh, I have to read the Bible every day. It makes me feel good, makes me feel connected with God." I'm not sure those people are reading the Bible. There's some really, really sad, disturbing, gut-wrenching stuff in the Bible that's really, it doesn't seem uplifting at all. And it's more of a like what not to do, how not to get inspired. So if you start reading the Bible and you run across heavy, difficult stuff, just know the Bible is not meant to be a happy-go-lucky little inspiration for your day. So, again, I want to reiterate what the Bible actually is. This is a collection of testimonies, of stories about how God is moving on the earth through humanity and with humanity in order to bring about reconciliation and salvation. That's what the Bible is. And there's so many different things to study and ways to study that I don't want you to get bogged down in having to find a verse for everything. This is about who Jesus is and what he came to do. If you can focus everything on that, I know that your questions are going to be answered in time. And also know that the God who has worked throughout humanity for the thousands, the almost 2,000 years that this story spans, is still working in humanity today. And if he wants you to know something, if he wants to guide you, he's still capable of doing so. So there are some people who, they have to have a verse for everything. They're so worried about upsetting God. This story tells us about a God who is a loving father who cannot wait to reunite with us, who cannot wait to lead and guide us. So while it's admirable to study the word and try to find real answers in here, I also don't want you to get torn up trying to, to worry yourself. When you are looking to Jesus, your faith, your hope, and your salvation is secure. He's going to work out the rest. You're on a pathway, you're on a journey. You can do this. That's my pep talk for today. All right, that's it for now. The Bible is ancient Jewish wisdom literature meant to tell us the way that God has worked in people and the way that he has been bringing about our salvation and reconciliation. All right, that's it for now. I hope that was at least a little bit helpful. See you later.